The statement you provided is an opinion attributed to a commentator rather than a verified fact. It includes a specific exchange rate claim, $3.22 plus a cost of living increase, that has not been confirmed by the Central Bank of Iraq or other official monetary authorities. To keep the script factual, advertiser-friendly, and suitable for YouTube, the analysis should clearly present it as a claim or opinion, and explain that the outcome remains uncertain. Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Today we are taking a closer look at a statement that has been circulating within the Iraqi dinar community regarding the future of Iraq's currency reform and exchange rate. Specifically, we will examine the claim that the deletion of the zeros from the Iraqi currency would occur simultaneously with a change in the exchange rate, along with the opinion that the Iraqi dinar could eventually return to a level above $3. Rather than treating this statement as confirmed information, we will analyze it within the broader context of Iraq's monetary policy, economic reforms, and the role of the Central Bank of Iraq. The Iraqi dinar has remained one of the most closely watched currencies among international currency enthusiasts for many years. This attention stems from Iraq's significant oil resources, ongoing banking reforms, infrastructure development, and repeated discussions surrounding modernization of the country's financial system. At the same time, it is important to recognize that official monetary policy is determined by the Central Bank of Iraq, not by market speculation or commentary from individual analysts. The statement under discussion suggests that deleting the zeros from the currency would happen simultaneously with a change in the exchange rate. This idea has circulated for many years in various investment communities. But it is important to understand what the phrase deleting the zeros actually means from an economic perspective. In monetary economics, deleting zeros generally refers to a redenomination. A redenomination changes the face value of banknotes without necessarily changing the purchasing power of the currency. Many countries throughout history have removed zeros from their currencies after long periods of inflation in order to simplify accounting, pricing, banking systems, and everyday transactions. This process is largely administrative and is designed to make financial operations more efficient. For Iraq, officials have discussed currency restructuring on multiple occasions over the past 2 decades. However, implementing such a policy would require extensive planning. Commercial banks would need updated software, businesses would need to adjust pricing systems, ATMs would require recalibration, accounting standards would have to be modified, and the public would need education regarding the transition. Such reforms are significant national projects, rather than overnight events. Some analysts believe that if Iraq ever introduces a redenomination, it could coincide with broader banking reforms or exchange rate adjustments. Others argue that redenomination and exchange rate policy are separate decisions that may occur independently. At present, no official announcement has confirmed that these two events will necessarily happen at the same time. Another part of the statement refers to the Iraqi dinar being reinstated. Within portions of the dinar community, the word reinstatement is often used to describe the idea that Iraq's currency could eventually trade at levels similar to those seen before decades of conflict, sanctions, and economic restructuring. However, from the standpoint of official monetary policy, neither the Central Bank of Iraq nor major international financial institutions have announced any plan describing a future reinstatement at a specific historical exchange rate. This distinction is important because monetary policy is influenced by current economic realities rather than historical exchange rates. Every country's currency value reflects a combination of inflation, money supply, foreign exchange reserves, trade balances, investor confidence, fiscal policy, and central bank objectives. Historical exchange rates alone do not determine future exchange rate policy. The claim mentioning a value above $3 should therefore be viewed as speculation unless supported by official policy announcements. While many investors discuss various potential exchange rate scenarios, no official institution has confirmed a future target at that level. Looking at Iraq's current economic situation provides useful context. Iraq continues to benefit from substantial oil exports, which remain the backbone of government revenue. Higher oil income generally strengthens government finances by increasing foreign currency inflows and supporting foreign exchange reserves. Strong reserves give the central bank additional flexibility in maintaining exchange rate stability. In recent years, Iraq has also pursued banking modernization initiatives. Authorities have encouraged electronic payments, expanded digital banking services, improved anti-money laundering compliance, strengthened relationships with international financial institutions, and promoted financial inclusion. These reforms are designed to create a stronger financial system, capable of supporting long-term economic growth. Banking reform is particularly significant because a modern banking sector improves transparency, facilitates international transactions, and increases confidence among businesses and investors. Rather than focusing solely on exchange rate speculation, many economists believe these structural reforms represent one of the most important developments for Iraq's long-term economic future. International organizations have consistently emphasized governance improvements, banking modernization, fiscal discipline, and private sector development as key priorities for Iraq. These reforms may not generate dramatic headlines every day, but they often play a much larger role in determining long-term economic performance than short-term currency rumors. When considering any future exchange rate policy, the Central Bank of Iraq must balance several competing objectives. One priority is maintaining price stability. Stable prices help households preserve purchasing power while allowing businesses to plan investments more confidently. Another priority is protecting foreign exchange reserves, which serve as an important buffer against external economic shocks. The central bank must also consider inflation. If a currency appreciates too rapidly, without corresponding improvements in economic productivity, unexpected consequences could emerge for exports, government budgeting, and private sector competitiveness. Therefore, exchange rate decisions typically involve detailed economic analysis rather than simple adjustments. For Iraqi Dinar followers, this means that major policy changes would likely reflect comprehensive economic planning rather than isolated announcements. Investors should pay attention not only to currency discussions, but also to developments involving government reforms, banking legislation, fiscal policy, and economic diversification. Another important factor is Iraq's effort to reduce dependence on cash transactions. Expanding electronic payment systems can improve financial transparency, reduce transaction costs, and strengthen regulatory oversight. Greater participation within the formal banking system also allows policymakers to better monitor financial activity and implement monetary policy effectively. If Iraq continues improving payment infrastructure, strengthening commercial banks, and expanding digital financial services, these reforms could contribute positively to the country's long-term financial stability. Although these changes may appear gradual, they often represent the foundation for broader economic modernization. The concept of deleting zeros should also be understood in terms of public perception. Many people mistakenly assume that removing zeros automatically creates wealth or dramatically increases purchasing powers. In reality, if a country redenominates its currency without changing underlying economic fundamentals, prices, wages, savings, and contracts are generally adjusted proportionally. For example, if 3 zeros were removed from a currency, an item previously costing 1,000 units might instead cost 1 unit after redenomination. The purchasing power remains essentially unchanged because all values are adjusted consistently. This illustrates why economists emphasize that redenomination itself does not automatically make a nation richer. Of course, a redenomination implemented alongside broader economic reforms may improve confidence by simplifying transactions and signaling monetary stability. However, those benefits arise from the broader reform program rather than the numerical change alone. Regarding the claim of a future value exceeding $3, it is important to recognize that exchange rate forecasts vary widely among analysts. Some focus primarily on Iraq's energy resources and foreign reserves, while others emphasize fiscal challenges, public sector spending, geopolitical risks, and the need for continued institutional reforms. No single indicator determines future currency values. Instead, policymakers evaluate numerous variables, including economic growth, inflation, government finances, current account balances, foreign investment, monetary conditions, and international market developments. This balanced perspective helps separate analysis from speculation. While discussions about possible future exchange rates remain popular within the dinar community, Responsible financial reporting requires distinguishing verified information from personal opinion. Short-term implications for Iraqi dinar followers remain relatively straightforward. Unless official announcements are issued by the Central Bank of Iraq or relevant government authorities, speculation alone is unlikely to alter official exchange rate policy. Market participants should therefore focus on verified developments rather than unconfirmed projections. Official communications regarding banking modernization, reserve management, electronic payment expansion, anti-money laundering compliance, and economic reform are likely to provide more meaningful insight into Iraq's financial direction than unsupported exchange rate targets. Over the longer term, Iraq possesses several strengths that could support continued economic development. The country holds substantial energy resources, maintains strategic geographic importance, and continues working towards stronger financial institutions. Infrastructure investment, private sector growth, and banking modernization all have the potential to improve economic resilience over time. Diversification remains another major objective. Although oil continues generating most government revenue, expanding manufacturing, agriculture, logistics, technology, and tourism could reduce dependence on energy markets while creating additional employment opportunities. Greater economic diversification also tends to strengthen overall financial stability because government revenue becomes less vulnerable to fluctuations in global oil prices. Stable public finances contribute positively to monetary policy and investor confidence. International investment also plays a meaningful role. Foreign companies generally evaluate regulatory transparency, legal protections, banking efficiency, infrastructure quality, and political stability before committing long-term capital. Continued reforms in these areas may gradually improve Iraq's investment environment. Financial confidence develops over years rather than days. Investors typically monitor consistency in policymaking, institutional credibility, and macroeconomic stability before adjusting long-term expectations regarding a country's currency. This is why many economists encourage following measurable indicators rather than relying exclusively on exchange rate rumors. Foreign exchange reserves, inflation trends, GDP growth, banking reforms, fiscal performance, and international trade data provide valuable insight into economic progress. For viewers following Iraqi dinar developments, maintaining realistic expectations is essential. Currency markets can be influenced by numerous domestic and international factors, and significant policy changes are generally communicated through official channels. While opinions from commentators may generate discussion, they should not be interpreted as confirmed policy decisions. Responsible analysis involves comparing public claims with official information released by the Central Bank of Iraq, the Iraqi government, and recognized international financial institutions. This approach allows viewers to distinguish between speculation and verified developments. Ultimately, the statement suggesting simultaneous deletion of the zeros and a reinstatement above $3 represents one viewpoint within the broader dinar discussion. It reflects an interpretation rather than an officially confirmed monetary policy. Until Iraqi authorities announce specific plans, any numerical exchange rate target should be treated as speculative. As Iraq continues advancing banking modernization, improving payment infrastructure, strengthening regulatory compliance, and pursuing broader economic reforms, these developments deserve close attention because they provide measurable evidence of progress. Whether future monetary policy includes changes to the currency structure or exchange rate framework will depend on official decisions supported by economic conditions at that time. For now, the most prudent approach is to follow verified announcements, evaluate economic data objectively, and avoid making decisions based solely on rumors or unconfirmed forecasts. Careful analysis, patience, and attention to credible sources remain the best tools for understanding developments surrounding the Iraqi dinar. Thank you for watching today's update. If you appreciate responsible, balanced, and factual coverage of the Iraqi dinar and Iraq's economy, please subscribe to the channel and like the video so you don't miss future updates. As always, this content is provided for informational and educational purposes only, and should not be considered financial, investment, or trading advice. Always conduct your own research and consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.